Hey folks, so it is Monday morning and we are supposed to have a dry week, or a mostly dry week, after having a period of a lot of rain. So I finally have a chance to plant my garlic. I've been trying to decide where in the garden I can plant it so that it can make it through the winter and then sprout in the spring. And what I've decided on is going ahead and planting it in these 3 beds where there's lettuce right now. Now, these 2 beds of Salanova are pretty much just done, so I don't feel bad about that. But this bed right here of Lofty Solid Mix, it's still kind of growing back. And so I really don't want to rip it out, but I think I just have to. I'm going to go ahead and cut that back half today for, to make some salad for us. And then I think I'm going to actually probably pull it out, because if I cut it at the base, there's a chance that it will grow back in the spring. And then I don't want to have to deal with, it kind of competing with my garlic coming up. These 2 beds of Salanova, I'm going to go ahead and cut, just cut at the base and leave the roots in. The more roots I have in, the better, since we get a lot of rain and I don't want all the nutrients in soil to wash away. So yeah, that's what I'm going to go ahead and do. I considered planting the garlic over in the beds where I used to have potatoes, but this is my new soil that I got this spring, and I don't even know if I have enough stuff like rotted seaweed to amend it. Plus, this area of the garden doesn't get as much light in the spring, so that'll be something different next summer. I was considering maybe I could just cut, my kale beds, but I really do need to have my kale. Yeah, that'll last later into the winter, and so I want to be able to keep picking it. Plus, these 2 beds, they're right where I walk a lot of times during the summer, back and forth to the greenhouses. And once the garlic grows really tall, then it's hard to kind of walk through and stuff. So that's another reason to kind of just leave that alone. I do have a patch of Lofty Salad Mix here by the parsley that I can kind of still eat out of. So, I will have a little bit of lettuce. So the plan is to go ahead and cut that Lofty Salad Mix in the back, and then cut this all back or pull it all out, and then plant garlic. So the other consideration for using these 3 lettuce beds is because there were cranefly larvae attacking my lettuce early in the spring here and killing. They kind of eat at the base of the lettuce and then kill the lettuce. And cranefly larvae don't like alliums, so they don't bother the leeks or the garlic or whatever, green onions. And so I figure if I plant garlic in here, then it's not going to be harmed by any cranefly larvae that are still, hanging out here in these beds. Hi, just a minor rain shower. It'll probably be done in a second and I'll be able to finish. Okay, folks. Let's go over here, shall we? Oh, my legs. Oh, man. Let's just see here. So these are pretty flat beds, and I think I'm going to go ahead and scoop this pathway, throw it on top of this bed. Scoop this pathway, throw it on top of this bed. This bed right here already had the pathway scooped on top of it, I think. That'll be next, I guess. Okay, first thing, I have got to get this patch of weeds pulled out of here because it's creeping into the beds. I've been meaning to do this all summer, so I really got to do it now. Okay, so the weeds are all gone from this pathway here, and I marked out all of my 3 beds because I didn't quite know where the beds and the pathways were. So I got those marked, pathway, pathway. And then I went through with a wheel hoe and just kind of dug real deep in the pathway so I can take the shovel and shovel the pathway onto the beds. And yeah, so I got wheel hoe, but my potato fork, the metal actually broke. So I need another one of those because I think I'm going to go ahead and, you know, once I'm done digging the, I don't know, should I fork the beds before I dig the pathways onto the beds? I probably should. So I'm going to go ahead and shovel the pathways onto the beds first so then I can walk on the pathways in order to fork the beds. Order of operations. Yes, will I get it done tonight? We shall see. Last night I got the 2 pathways shoveled onto these 2 beds, and then I got it raked out. Then I pulled all the little cloves apart in the garlic bulbs. Okay, so I ordered 10 pounds of Georgian Fire, 30 pounds of Georgian Chrystal, and I pulled these individual cloves apart last night. Turns out the Georgian Fire cloves are a little bit maybe smaller because Georgian Fire, I was getting out of 29 bulbs for 5 pounds, like 160 cloves. The second bag was 28 bulbs, 123 cloves, so something like that, right? Whereas the Georgian Chrystal 5-pound bag was 20 bulbs, and I got 90 cloves. And bag 2, 21 bulbs, 93 cloves. And then I just went through the big 20-pound sack of Georgian Chrystal, and yeah. So there we go, ready to plant. I just need to get myself a potato fork, fork these 3 beds, and then I can plant garlic on this beautiful blue sky day. Beds are 42 feet, and I'll probably leave a foot at the ends. Okay, so I've got all 3 beds forked and raked, and I'm going to use this 4-row gritter to mark where I'm going to plant the garlic. So it's 4 rows, 7.5 inch spacing square. So here we go. Good. Let's see. I don't know, something like that, right? Okay. Shit. Okay. Here we go. Can you see the pattern? The thing is that it's always like this with my beds. The outer 2 rows are quite a ways on the edge, so I will probably just plant them in a little bit. Each one I'll just plant in a little bit, right? Should we just plant this one first and see how it goes, or should we mark them all out? I'm gonna mark them all out. Okay, so I'm going to start planting in this west bed the Georgian Fire, and I'm going to start here. I've got 63 plants times 4 rows, and that is 252 plants that I can get in this bed. So here we go. And I'm just gonna jam, this is what I did last year. You know, should I go in a little bit farther? I think this is actually fine. And I just went as far as I could go down with my fingers and did that, right? And should I do it across all the rows? Should I do it? Ugh. Yeah. 1, 2, and then maybe I should just go ahead and do these 2 spaces and then go down the other pathway and do the other 2 spaces. I think that's what I'm gonna do. So actually, I've decided I'm gonna use a trowel so I don't have to push so hard into the ground. Is that better? Sure. I'm still only going down as far as my fingers can push, right? Okay, dudes, I got done with that bed and then I had a snack, and it's about almost 5:30 and the sun is low in the sky. And so it took me probably less than an hour to do that bed. So it's gonna take me another couple hours to do these 2 beds here with my, can you see? Georgian Chrystal. And so here we go. Okay, dudes, sun is down, but I am done. 6:30, so it took me about half an hour to do each bed. I'm getting faster with my technique, I suppose. Oh, my fingers are gonna be so sore. Alrighty, I spent a few hours gathering seaweed, and I'm gonna throw it onto these 3 beds of planted garlic. I don't know if I'm gonna do it tonight or tomorrow morning. Tomorrow afternoon it's supposed to rain. So anyway, gotta eat dinner, and then when you've got too many things to carry, you gotta stack them up. Okay, folks, seaweed time. Whoa. Crab leg, a tiny shell. Let's get a closer look at these guys. That's all the closer I can get. What you guys doing? Oh, so funny. That deer does not look big enough to be mama deer. Is it possible that that's little baby deer from last year hanging out with the 2 babies from this year? So funny. I think they're gonna just wander off. I thought they might camp out for a while. Okie dokie. Back to seaweed. Okay, all 3 beds seaweeded. I ended up with a lot more sand in this one, this last bed, because I did it last, and there's a lot more sand at the bottom of the load. But whatever, I hope all goes well. Last year I did this exact same thing. I threw seaweed on the beds in the fall, and then we had a really cold, snowy winter. But in the spring, the garlic just sprouted up and everything was fine, so this should work. The only concern I have about these 3 beds, and I was reluctant to plant in for another reason, was because earlier this spring, when I was having problems with the crane fly larva eating my Salanova lettuce, I pushed some garlic down at the base of each of the stems to try and ward those critters off. And I used garlic that was not, you know, seed garlic. It was not tested or anything. So I may have introduced some garlic disease into these beds. But anyway, this was just the best place for them, so I went with it. And done. I have got to head off and wash that lofty salad mix that I harvested earlier this week because I am out of lettuce and I need to make salads for dinner. So I'm going to head off and do that, and I will talk to you guys next week. Oh boy. What are these? They look like, what do they call them? Winter Chanterelles? But I don't know for sure, so I'm not going to eat them, but check it out.